Speaking of making the work, Squatic finally making some inroads here on behalf of...
Absolutely gets in the back. Shadows.
Oh my god. Hello?
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 Uh-oh.
Hello?
Blur? Hello?
I don't think there's time. They're not gonna get back in touch. Nobody's noticed, no?
33% to a blob, but BDO sitting with 4 ultimates of their own. This next fight.
They can follow up a little bit of aggression. This Deffect could be used. I think this is everybody. He does!
The anti-nade came through, and as much as we thought, this is dirty. Oh
Yeah,
no.
Alcian popping it on everyone. The long spawns and overtime.
Wow.
Actually. It looks like look at Killer Talk. Oh my god! With the triple. Could that be the difference? He's coming out. Terrible. Try and take up the difference. Let's get it. Oh, here's a tip. All right, welcome everybody back to some ZA Overwatch action. Bad start. Bad start. Let's try that again. Welcome back everybody to some ZA Overwatch action. It's been a packed week of South African Overwatch. You joined us yesterday, tons of 80k action, and today we've got some Raving Mad Gamers action going forward. Week 9 now, coming towards the back end of this, we've got a real star-studded rematch here, Evo versus OG. But before we get there, you guys know me. My name is SunPheonyx, and I'm joined once again by NaoriMizuki.
Yo, what's up, guys? I made the joke on the tweeters about this being the Sunzuki or the NaoriMizuki, and somebody made the comment of Sunzuki's Art of War, and I love it. So, welcome to Sunzuki's Art of War.
Welcome indeed, and like I said, we've got Evo versus OG, and like I said, that's a rematch. We saw this last week, I think it was, and it was not as close as we were expecting, and also it went the opposite direction. But before we get there, Nori, why don't you talk to us a little bit about the hero bans and speculate for 2 seconds about what that might cause?
Well, Farah mains rejoice because once again we've got some hit scans out of the pool, and hit scan mains of course are now wondering why they even play this game. We have McCree and Widowmaker out of the pool once again, joined with Reinhardt and Brigitte for the second time, I believe. So very little shielding, very little static shielding in this compositional lineup. So we're going to see probably a small amount of brawl, and I think that Brigitte also disables some utilization of Tracer, because as much as she can help to counter a Tracer, putting that armor pack onto somebody trying to dive into a backline can really help them out exceptionally. So we might be seeing a little less of that dive-centric play here, which is it's a real juxtaposition, because of course with Reinhardt being out of the mix, you would think that dive would be favored, leaning more towards that Winston. So I'm probably going to be expecting some Orisa, Sigma, maybe some Reaper May, bring it back to a slightly more OG composition.
Yeah, I mean, not funny you should use that phrasing, but anyways, not the most OG composition. We're talking end of OWL last year, but yeah, based on what we saw yesterday, I think it's more of that. Roster-wise, for both teams, we're looking at the same thing for OG, same thing for Evo. So, with the notable absence, it should be said, of a Rex, and I think you're quite familiar with the Rex and Naori. So, it's pretty much the star of the last match, and I think not having him is going to make it quite difficult for OG.
You mean Erexon that Hanzo one trick? Nah, they'll be fine.
Well, he was dominating on Farah, and this hero pool is really good for Farah, like you said. So,
Yeah.
might be a bit tough. But talk to us a little bit about what we are seeing here before we get started.
Well, not seeing that Reaper May. In fact, it's a Hanzo May, and I'm kind of here for it. Mirror compositions, in fact, so it's really going to come down to who can utilize their abilities most effectively, who can use their cooldowns and not waste them all willy-nilly, and try and get the most value out of it. Who can really start to exploit those big mistakes from the enemy team.
Oh, speaking of exploiting, Authorized exploited straight off the bat there. Jelly Doodle finding a shot onto him from that Hanzo, and the shield break is intense coming out from Evo here in the red, or in the... Yeah, no, sorry. Coming out from OG in the red, but struggling to make anything happen. That initial pick making it so difficult. The damage limited, as Cheetah Boy does end up taking out the Ninja's lamp, and Evo setting up on point here, and it looks like OG are going to have to come back in here. with some rethought tactics. But this hold, look at that, beautiful hold from Maestro, making it so tough for OG to come through, but damage going both ways, and it's Terran Lord who finds that first pick in this week for Erex, and like we said, already having an impact, but now kills going both ways as Jelly Doodle finds a nice headshot, but Authorize goes down early and comes back with a vengeance, picking up two headshots, and Diablo ends it all for Evo as OG get the cap right back.
Jeez, major vengeance plot there from Authorized. Really well played there from OG. One man down, so they just kind of chill in the choke a little bit, give up the points for a couple %, not too worried about that. As soon as their Zenyatta is back from spawn, as soon as their abilities are back online, they manage to push in quite strongly. And already, I mean, they're almost up to the same percentage with just having won that one fight. And looking at this ult economy, it's looking really good for both teams here. But we're going to start that out with the Gravitic Flux, and there's no defense for it.
Dragons and Gravitic Flux kind of anti-comboed, but it seems like OG going to get more than enough out of that as they pick up a quick 4K and follow it up with a full-on team wipe here, as Jelly Doodle going to do his best to make it out of here, but I think he's just wasting his own time, and eventually he does hit the deck there. And that was a pretty strong fight from OG, but they committed a lot, but they are coming up towards that Blizzard.
Yeah, that was a bit of a weird one. The Sigma fluxed the whole enemy team over the dragon. I feel like there's a little bit of a miscommunication there. Oops. But still have the Blizzard online, as you mentioned. It is a bit of a fight-winning ultimate, and they're about to have a Transcendent, so that'll really help out with the enemy Blizzard as well. Hopefully they'll be able to push through that.
Yeah, here comes that Blizzard though. A beautiful Hulk brings everyone in. Good work from the two brothers, Phoenix and Terrorblade. Nice. But again, OG just completely dominant. Authorized picks himself another 3K up there, and it looks like Evo just don't have what it takes here on the first point of Oasis.
Clean fight win there, using only the Blizzard and the mini grab, or otherwise known as Halt.
Yeah.
And managing to just really clean up there very quickly. Now coming into this next fight, they've still got about 4 to 5 ultimates available. Elven Slayer close to yet another Gravitic Flux. Oh, and the early pick-off, it doesn't
Space going down early there, as you say, on Diablo finding that pick, and the Blizzard goes down, but it's not finding anything. That Transcendence from Authorized, keeping his team so healthy, and it looks like Evo not going to be able to get in here as OG now start picking up the kills. Authorized, I mean, playing out of his mind here on the first map.
Authorized is like he heard the broadcast. He's like, oh, you think Erexon was the carry? Let me tell you how it really went, friends. Absolutely dominating there on that Zenyatta. I must say, OG really shows some great control in how they play. They control the space quite well, and they combo their ultimates for the most part fairly well. There was that little bit of a slip up where we, fluxed everybody above the dragon, and that got no. But
even then, they dominated their team fight.
Yeah, they still won the fight. I mean, and that's all you can really hope for in a team fight, to win. And despite using those 2 ultimates, they still had a few in the bank, and they managed to win almost every fight only using 1 or 2 ultimates, not giving Evo even the opportunity to use any of theirs. They played that defense actually quite aggressively, and so Evo, while they had a lot of ultimates in the bank, just weren't able to actually use them.
Compositional switch-ups here for Evo specifically. I think they had something they needed to change, and this time leading on the diver, but Maestro and Big Tuna on the big fat mobile tanks, the Winston and Diva respectively. Let's see if they can get anything. Maestro, Cheetah Boy with the immediate pick, kicks out the tower, and then follows up with a good kill onto the Ninja, and finally Evo making some inroads here as they take down 5, make that 6. No, sorry, now it's only 5 as the Ninja still left, but a beautiful play from them, and they're going to secure a first point cap.
This is such a dive-favored map because of how you can really just abuse this high ground, and that's exactly what we saw Evo doing. Utilizing that Pharah to create a bit of a crossfire as soon as their tanks dive in really splits up the attention of OG, and they weren't able to deal with it at all. Now we're going to be seeing Diablo swapping over onto that Ashe to deal with the Pharah up in the sky, because of course that is a massive issue that does need to be dealt with as quickly as possible. Cheetah Boy already sitting on that rocket barrage, which is a huge opener if he can get some value out of that.
Oh, this positioning, here he comes, rocket barrage, but immediately the perfect response, Elven Slayer. He doesn't need a defense matrix, it just puts a shield up in his face, and the added value of killing him immediately as Phoenix just finds Maestro, and now Big Junior going down on the back line here. Beautiful play from OG, scouting out exactly what Evo wanted to do and countering it perfectly.
weird play actually from Cheetah Boy. I would have expected him to go around the back, and as OG were funneling forward, try and barrage them from the back to barrage from the front. They can see you coming, and it was so easy for Elven Slayer to shut it down and actually make him kill himself in the process. Now OG have control of this point, and they have 2 ultimates online, and immediately that's a really bad position for Evo to be in, coming in here with just kind of 3 ultimates of their own, really, and not massive impactful ultimates, mostly just space creating. If they don't do something with the space, it means nothing.
Little bit of an early pick there from Jelly Doodle makes him go down early. Maestro, though, still going to commit his ultimate in here. Cheetah finds 1, Maestro finds 2. Maybe there's still something here for Evo as the Blizzard goes down in the opposite direction. Both teams committing a lot to this team fight, but so far, so good for Evo as Cheetah Boy racks a nuisance in the sky here as finally the kills come through. The tanks hooking up for a double each, and Evo going to secure themselves another point cap here at 58%.
OG focusing a little too hard on that primaling Winston and forgetting about the Pharah behind them and indeed the rest of the enemy team. And they allowed there to be quite a lot of quick cleanup. And that's kind of what I was talking about. So you had the primal to create some space. The rest of the team followed up on that. But it's important to note they also threw in both support ultimates in that fight. And OG are coming in with 4 ultimates, and 2 of them are support ultimates. So they're looking really good coming into this next one.
Yeah, looking very good. So they move up here onto the high ground. Here comes Authorized. He starts off with the Transcendence, but they commit the lamp, and that protects the team from Big Tuna's ultimate, of course. But now Cheetah Boy gets 1, gets 2, and a follow-up from Maestro, putting in such good work here. Evo finally showing some signs of life. Perhaps started off a little bit cold here, but finally they're showing OG why they need to be feared as they pick up another team fight win. Last fight territory here for OG.
Yeah, OG doing some weird things there. They try to use the jump pad to get up onto the high ground, but guys, Orisa Sigma, it ain't dive. Trying to contest that high ground against a Winston and an Orisa, or rather a Diva, it's not going to end well, especially when there's Cheetah Boy up there just raining damage down on you. Now, they did make a couple of swap-ups here, so not too many ultimates that they can use. Going to try and use that Gravitic Flux for some space.
Yeah, using that there, not finding anything, and this Cheetah Boy with a decent barrage finds Authorized straight away. We have switched onto the Mercy, so no resurrection coming out. They commit Jelly Doodle's tack visor, doesn't have good sights just yet, but they're finding kills all over the map here, and finally Evo gonna take a map point back here against OG, taking us to 3rd point of Oasis. University should be pretty good, or not University, Garden.
Yeah, I must say, that dive looking kind of clean from Evo, but as we move on to Garden, now that's not a particularly dive heavy map. You can play dive on there, but it's not your first choice. This is another kind of brawl favored map. That being said, Pharah does still get a lot of value on this map, and we can see they're not going to be swapping off of that dive. It worked out very well for them on the last map, and they're going to be trying to get the same or similar results. We are going to see a little bit of a swap up from OG here, going on to something akin to what we saw on that very first map. Okay, there we go. Now it's exactly the same comp. Just Anna had to swap over onto the BAP. Now it's the same thing. And now we know that they got very good results on that first map. So both teams coming out on the compositions that netted them a map win in the previous 2 maps. Now they're going to kind of bump heads on these 2 compositions. We'll see which one of these 2 teams winds up on top. I think it favors OG's composition.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
The dive has been so strong here. Maybe they can leverage it.
Yeah, we'll have to see. It's up to OG here to weather the storm against the aggressive play from Maestro. Here he goes, jumping straight in here. Can they find the damage they need? So far, so good as they find Anti-Diablo early on. Jelly Doodle finds a good angle to take down Authorized, and Maestro will drop here, but you've got to be feeling pretty good for Evo Esports here as they picked up most of the kills. Terran Lord dropping down, and that will secure Evo the first point capture on Garden.
Like I said, they know how to leverage that dive. The tanks dive in, and there's the support that they need is there. I did actually just notice that we saw Cheetah Boy swapping over onto the Hanzo at the start of that round, so very close to a dragon. And now OG swapping up onto a dive of their own.
Oh, interesting.
Using the Wrecking Ball in place of a Diva to get into the backline and try and create some chaos. Not too sure how well that's going to work against the dive composition, but here we go. Let's see.
Oh, well, that's a good start. Space Planet Jelly Doodle dropping straight away. Wallace will come in with the resurrection. Brings back his fellow support to see if he can help the team stay alive. But Terran Lord now in the skies on the pharmacy doing tons of damage. He re-kills Space Panda. This Authorized brings Phoenix Tears back, and kills going both ways. But OG certainly in control of this team fight. 37% on the clock for Evo, but OG finally gonna flip it on Gardens.
OG showing that they can also run a dive of their own and doing it exceptionally well. It took them up to 44% to finally be able to flip the point back in their favor. But they're very close to a pulse bomb from Diablo. So if he can take down one of those supports, it would be instrumental in helping them to maintain control. And of course, Ninja dangerously close there to that nano boost. But those are the only ultimates they have really for the moment. Evo coming in here with 2 ultimates. Going to be 4 very soon if Jelly Doodle can stay alive.
Oh, going to be 6 very soon.
Yeah, that is looking really good here for this next engage.
Yeah, Turnlord just pumping the damage in from range here, trying to see if he can find early picks. But speaking of early picks, Jelly Doodle finds the first one with a nice right click from his rockets, takes down Diablo before he can use that pulse bomb. So one of those ultimates neutralized immediately on the side of OG, and they didn't have a lot to work with to begin with. Turnlord, though, has managed to build up that rocket barrage, so he's going to be looking to pop that here as Evo move in. Does he find anything? Jelly Doodle is his chosen target, but he's taken down straight away. He does find the kill, and Authorized is going to have to look to get the res, but he was taken down straight away as Evo now in firm control on Gardens here. 55% on the clock for EOG, although that said, okay, finally, Alvin Slayer's ball going down, and Evo, that was a pretty well executed team fight, and the ult's still in their favor.
Yeah, Cheetah Boy performed really well. They managed to get a nice little dragon there, which also, as much as it got a kill, it also just kind of split up the whole enemy team, and he could use that disarray to his advantage, get a couple of pickoffs there. Oh, that's not good for OG.
That is not good indeed. They're still going to commit a lot here. They've still got plenty of time. So interesting they choose to go in, but immediately the Ninja finds Maestro, so maybe the correct choice. Jelly Doodle committing the attack visor though, finds one as Cheetah Boy not able to find targets. He is looking down the barrel of the Ninja, but he's choosing to commit elsewhere now as Authorized brings Phoenix Cheers back to the fighting place again. Cheetah Boy though finds Diablo, not able to get any value on that Tracer just yet. It looks like OG kills going both directions, neither team with the advantage just yet, but Diablo on that Tracer, not able to get the value, and finally Evo getting the kills they need now. If they win this team fight, they win the round, and it's just Alvin Slayer left on point. Diablo now coming back in on the Tracer as the dragons fly through. Okay, kills now finally for OG. They're making something up here as Terranlord comes back in, but the position that Evo have on point here is just too good, and OG will get taken down. And finally, Evo takes a map of OG.
That was that fight was so favoring OG, and I was actually quite surprised at how Evo managed to turn that around. OG's time to kill was just a little bit too long, and they weren't able to follow up and get those last couple of kills. They allowed the entirety of Evo to just kind of come back onto point, regroup, and, you know, regain control of the point, and that's kind of the last thing you want to be doing. They had control, they had every opportunity. Evo playing that quite well as well. They did play a little bit further back, a little bit more reserved, waited till they had those abilities available to them, and as soon as they did, they hit the go button and they managed to kind of clinch out that last little bit and retake control of the point and win out that first map of the series. You know what? This looks like it's going to be a really good close series.
Yeah, I'm excited for that, but it seems like when we're on the dive, it favors Evo. So I wonder if we're going to see any sort of compositional rock, paper, scissors here where they try and counter each other with the shield comp and the dive. But so far, both teams, it seems like, at least on the Garden, favoring that dive composition. Why do you think that is here?
Well, favoring the dive composition? I mean, map choice definitely plays a big role in it. And that first map, I did kind of note that it was a very dive favored map, and as we moved over onto Universe, or rather onto Garden, it's less that the map favors dive, but it has dive utility. You can definitely utilize the dive well. You can abuse that high ground quite effectively, and that's what Evo did. So it worked out really well for them. In fact, even when OG swapped onto a dive of their own, they didn't have the same kind of potency, and I think that also just speaks to Evo possibly just being a little bit stronger on that dive composition. So you have a dive favored map, you have a team that's proficient with dive, you add the two together, and you make life hell for the enemy team.
Yep. So that was Oasis there, and moving on now to King's Row. I didn't even have to say the name of the map, but you guys know where we're headed here. And there is a substitute here, Terranlord out on Diablo out, Slumpy in. So this is a very common substitute that OG make for the second map, and usually it would be a Rexen in Terranlord's place, and then Slumpy and on Diablo switching per map. But so this is quite common. Evo no substitutes for them, but King's Row, I agree with you what you were saying about the dive on Garden and City Center specifically, and I think this is obviously more double shield favored.
Oh yes, this map we see a lot of double shield, because you can just abuse it so well, particularly when you get into that streets phase. Dive Dive has its place on first point,
Yeah.
but as you move into the streets phase towards that last point, it really is difficult to abuse the dive composition. There aren't there's no real high grounds that you can take advantage of. There's a couple,
Mm.
but it's not as effective. It's really, this is a brawl heavy map, so we're most likely going to be seeing a little bit more of that. And I mean, immediately we see you've got the double shield from Evo, along with the Hanzo and the Ash. So we got double sniper, and of course the Mercy to help damage boost and make sure that the snipers are getting the
Mm-hmm.
most value out of their heroes. Now, what is interesting to me is we're seeing the Pharah from Terran Lord, and I think that it could be difficult for him to get value coming into the Hanzo and the Ash here. But he has an Ash of his own to help create that crossfire, so hopefully it'll be enough to keep those snipers occupied so that he can get some value.
I know exactly why they're running this, but I was sworn to a vow of secrecy until the strat was exposed. So I promised the Rexen I wouldn't say anything, and I know it's interesting, but Jelly Doodle immediately finds that pick on Terran Lord, but Slumpy gonna get the return. Wallace though, bringing Jelly Doodle and Evo back up to full fighting strength here. Slumpy though gets rid of him straight away. Okay, calm down, ladies and gentlemen. Slumpy getting the much better of that trade at the moment, as now Evo, or OG rather, have the greater number, and they're gonna push forward accordingly and start capping the point. Good positioning here from Evo though, but Terran Lord over the top, making it difficult for them to stand and fight. The Nano Boost comes onto Maestro, I suspect defensively, and Cheetah Boy though finds Phoenix Cheers. There's no more res, so he's not going to be able to be brought back up to health as Evo, or kills though going both ways. Cheetah Boy resed, and as I say that, Phoenix Cheers brought back as well, but it looks like OG have more than enough left in the tank. Push Evo back and cap first point of King's Row.
Evo had such a good opportunity there to turn it around. They pulled back a little bit, waited for their team to regroup, dropped the Nano onto Maestro. They had all the resources that they need to turn it around, but OG with massive aggression there, just not allowing Evo to get back onto the point. Great teamwork there to make sure that they were focusing the right targets, focusing the same targets, and now holding really close in the streets phase all the way at second point again to just make sure that the payload gets as much free push as possible, and of course just allowing themselves to build up a couple of extra ultimate charge on the enemy team, as Evo coming into this have a ton of ults to use, popping that Valk super early.
Oh yeah, very strange choice to pop that so early, Wallace. Deciding this is the time to commit it. Speaking of committal, beautiful combination, the Hulk and the Dragon Strike. Gonna find Slumpy, but they have to get aggressive if they're gonna prevent Authorized from getting this resurrection. He goes for it now, and they have the Gravitic Flux in the tank here on Big Tuna. They do get the res on Slumpy, and now the barrage comes through. Terran Lord putting in a ton of damage, finds Maestro straight away. They do still have the res on the side of Evo, but I don't think they've got the space to use it here, as OG barrel on through with Phoenix Cheers as supercharger and put the damage on Evo.
That is a lot of ultimates though. Oh, three ultimates. It's not too bad to net yourself a fight win. So I think OG will be pretty happy with that. And of course, coming into the next fight, they're going to have the supercharger as well as the Bob, and very soon the damage amplification matrix. Now they've got 5 minutes to push the cart all the way to third point. Evo, 3 or 4 ultimates in their own tank coming into this next fight, and one of them is the Bob and of course the Gravitic Flux, and there's nothing really to help with the Gravitic Flux from OG except maybe Lamp. So if they can pull the Lamp out, oh no, we just go straight in.
Oh yeah, Gravitic Flux committed there. The halt was a little bit late from Maestro. I think they were hoping to combo that. Didn't quite come off. Slumpy though finds Big Tuna in the background. There was a Bob used earlier there by Slumpy. Jelly Doodle not even getting the opportunity, as once again Slumpy gets rid of him in a matter of moments with a single click. Wallace gonna bring Cheetah Boy back up here, but it's not gonna be enough to help them hold as Big Tuna works his way back in. He does have, he used his ulti in the previous fight. Bob finally, Jelly Doodle, nope, goodbye friend, off the map there. We didn't need that ultimate. Maestro gonna try and hold them off the map. He commits a supercharger, but that's a big anti-heal from Space Panda. Might secure them a couple of kills here. That might be enough to help them re-stabilize here, but no, that res from Authorized gonna make it so that OG have more than enough to fight here, although we see Big Tuna swinging around. I've seen this game before, but OG not gonna fall for that one. Staying all feet on the map as Jelly Doodle finally gets the pick back onto Slumpy, but it's too little too late. Terran Lord picks a double up with a celebratory firework barrage, and OG with 4 minutes left on the clock gonna secure the third point of King's Row.
4 minutes is ridiculous. They
That
played
is-
that exceptionally well.
Yeah, that's a problem.
They actually came into that fight and burned every single one of their ultimates just immediately. And they pulled all of Evo's ults out as well, because Evo knew they had to use their ultimates. They had no choice. They needed to try and defend. And once that happened, it became a clean fight with no ults. And OG seemed to have a bit of an upper hand in those dry fights. And so they were able to just keep pushing that payload through with the sheer power of insane spam between the Ashe and the Pharah. Like, wow. Some of those dynamites were so crazy, and despite that amazing anti-nade that came through actually to anti both Phoenix and Elven Slayer, it wasn't enough. Orth managed to get the res off, and it was really simple for OG to once again just keep focusing. As somebody comes out of spawn, you focus them down. Make sure that your time to kill is super fast, and that way you maintain control of the payload, despite the fact that Evo had spawn advantage. Now, however, we're going to turn the tables around and try and see, can Evo get similar value on their own attack? And of course, OG going to be trying to defend even better than what their attack was. Curious to see the compositions, though. The only hit scan that's still in play right now is that Ashe. Both teams opting for Maze, which I really like on King's Row. There's some great spawn points, or rather choke points, that you can absolutely abuse with that. So excited to see what kind of walls are going to come out here and how they're going to punish people that get walled off.
Yeah, I like this on the high ground as well. The Ashe protected by the Sigma shield, making it difficult for Evo to put any damage through, and damage going, but the shields drop so quickly against these compositions. The Hanzo is making such a big difference to that end. Space Panda on that stand as well. Gonna be making it tough. The Halt comes over the top. Nice try comboing the accretion there, but a good response from Elven Slayer prevents it from going down. As we see Jelly Doodle here putting in the damage across the map. Not able to find anything. Neither team actually getting anything. This is quite a drawn out fight, and not even a ton of damage. Just the shields are just getting broken over and over. And finally, Evo gonna start moving a little bit forward here. That Halt might have been enough. This Jelly Doodle taking a 1v1 on top here. Whoever gets top of this might win the team fight, and Slumpy gets the battle of Jelly Doodle, not for the first time this match, it has to be said, as Evo now in a spot of trouble here. Phoenix just finds the kill on Space Panda. That's probably going to be enough to secure Evo the fight as he picks up the second, and now they're just going to have to run back to spawn here. Think about how they're going to approach the next team fight on the side of Evo.
Now, it was interesting to see how they kind of delayed that fight for so long when it was quite clear that they weren't going to be able to win it out, but they did a good job of building up some ultimates, and I think that was probably one of the main factors there. They're going to be coming in with the damage amplification matrix, the dragons, which the dragon you can actually throw it through the matrix.
Yes.
Assuming the arrow gets through and not the dragon, but it can be really dangerous. And of course, they're going to have Blizzard any second now as well, looking really good coming into this next fight in the ult economy.
They do commit the Matrix here on the side of Evo, but don't seem to be finding anything other than an immortality field, or rather having theirs go down now. Matrix comes the other way over the top. That Halt takes them, but they get a tick here. So even if they lose this fight, they do get something out of it, and it does look like they will lose this fight as OG pick up 2 here. Terran Lord and Elven Slayer picking up a couple, and yeah, Evo gonna back out here, but not leaving empty-handed.
That fight was a little bit of a disappointment for me from Evo, purely because they dropped the damage amplification matrix, but let's face it, it's so easy for an enemy team to just dip behind Hotel and not take any damage from it. Whereas if they'd waited a little bit longer, waited for Jelly Doodle to get that dragon, then as soon as the enemy team tries to hide from it, you just pop them where you know they're running to with a amplified dragon. I mean, that could have been so good for Evo, but unfortunately didn't go that way.
They do commit the dragon here, so maybe a little bit later than you were expecting, but they do find a double kill. One of those will be brought back to life immediately by Authorizer's Resurrection, and the Blizzard now committed a good halt, gonna keep them in there, but now it's a Venn diagram. I don't know who comes out on top of this, but so far so good for OG. Maybe I spoke too soon, or rather Evo. Maybe I spoke too soon though. Maestro only gets the Bob kill there, and so many ultis committed. Support ulti still in the bag here for Evo, and ultimates-wise, Evo firmly favored here as we move into the next fight.
Yeah, Evo did seem to use 3 ults in that last fight, which was a little bit disappointing, but it looked like they could have turned the fight around, especially with those 2 very early pickoffs from that dragon, but unfortunately just weren't able to clinch it. Now, not wasting any time, going for an immediate re-engage.
Beautiful combination. They get it off this time. The halt with the gravitic flux going to bring a ton of damage through, and finally Evo making some inroads, ingressing here towards the point as they picked up a couple of kills. It's just Terran Lord left to get accretion all up in his business and taken down. Slumpy going to be going for a flank here, and Evo just need to get some cleanup here, and they should be able to finally cap first point here on King's Row.
Nice little gravitic flux there. I actually like what they did there. So, whereas previously I was kind of hoping they would combo the damage amplification matrix with the dragon, this time they comboed it with the gravitic flux. And not in the way you would think. Like, they didn't amplify any damage, but putting out that window forced the whole of OG to have to move into a corner. And once they moved back, it was an easy gravitic flux, like 5-man flux, to get everybody up in the sky. And then of course you use your halt, you use your abilities, and just like that, health bars are dropping left and right. A nice clean fight win here from Evo. And as we move into the next fight, they still have a couple of ultimates in their bank, so they're looking pretty good here.
Halt dynamite combo then, where you bring everybody down low as Jelly Doodle halted inside. It wasn't halt the first time, the second time though it did secure the kill onto Big Tuna's Sigmas. Now they're trying to back up, but again the combination, more damage in the wall behind, gonna keep them trapped in as Alvin Slayer picks himself up a double on the way to his gravitic flux, and Evo gonna have to rethink the next fight.
Really great wall there from Terran Lord. Those last 3 little stragglers get them down quickly. And of course, net yourself a little bit of ult charge as well. Speaking of ult charge, OG 4 ultimates online here. And it's going to be the Bob and the Blizzard. And those are 2 insanely powerful ultimates. They don't even have to use them in the same fight.
Yeah.
Evo, however, also looking very good here in the ult economy. This is going to be kind of a battle of attrition in terms of like the resources they have are ultimates. Everyone has an ultimate, and who's going to be able to use them better.
Yeah, I like that play from OG there. They see the window come out from Wallace, and they just back right out. Not going to check any risks there. Now they send the Bob in the other way. Force Space Panda to commit an ultimate, and they commit the Venn diagram. Sorry. Yes, now it's a Venn diagram. Spoke too soon, but Evo clearly favored here as they pick up a couple of kills, but OG going to start moving back. A nice wall, going to allow Evo to take a moment and reset up, but still 5 heroes alive there following that resurrection. Now the Gravitic Flux coming in, going to be putting a ton of damage through to Evo as they find Wallace. No res on the side of Evo to bring them up to full fighting complement. So OG is just going to barrel through now, courtesy of Phoenix Cheers' Bongo / Supercharger, and take a nice clean team fight there. And only 30 seconds left on the clock. Evo in Struggle City here.
That was such a clean fight from Evo, and it really looks like they had the upper hand there. They got like a 3k, and unfortunately we had the nice little raise there from to bring the back into the fight, and just like that, coupled with the Valkyrie, they were able to turn the fight around, and OG held strong. But now again, more ultimates here for both sides.
Nice combo there. So much damage coming through. They commit everything though as they find a couple of kills. Jelly Doodle picking himself a quick triple as Evo on their last breath here are finally going to have some momentum going, but they're going to have to muster up another defense here, and all they've got, or another fight here, all they've got left is Wallace's Amp Matrix.
That's the thing, OG will likely get another contest before they even reach point. Okay, no, OG are going to hold further back. They're not going to recontest this. So Evo will be able to get the second point here, but it's going to be an uphill battle for them to try and get that third point. They will get a little bit of time on the clock.
Are you sure? Okay, they're committing now. Jelly Doodle immediately finds Phoenix Cheers as a Bob in the background. Slumpy finds one though, as Phoenix Cheers is brought back up to life, but Maestro going to deal with Slumpy's Bob. But Slumpy in the backline, Cheetah Boy getting rid of him with a beautiful headshot from the Cryo Blaster. And finally, this was a good fight from OG, a questionable one, but it's still going as Phoenix just picks up 2. And with the positioning, Wallace needs to be careful not to move away from Cart with the jumps. In fact, all of the team do. Now the ultimate going in. That lamp though making such a huge difference, and I think the Blizzard's gonna seal the deal here as OG secure themselves King's Row to bring the series back up to even Stevens 1-1. This is a close match so far.
Jeez, OG quite literally waiting for the last sliver of a moment. The cart was on 0.01 meters before they contest. And I'll be honest, I was questioning it because Evo, it really looked like they had control of that fight. But OG just doing so well to take advantage and punish every single mistake that Evo make. I mean, they keep winning these lost fights. You lost the fight and then you won the
Yeah.
fight. That is literally what OG do, and it's really impressive to see how they're able to do that. How they're able to synergize and make sure that they're all focusing on the same target. Make sure that they're comboing their ultimates effectively. Make sure that they're comboing their abilities effectively. We've
Mm-hmm.
seen some great combinations from OG, and through that little bit of teamwork and synergy, they just absolutely destroyed on King's Row. And I'm really excited to see as we move over onto looking like Volskaya it's gonna be.
Yeah, it looks like this guy.
I'm really excited to see how this one is going. Okay, no, somebody just said map question mark. We'll see.
Oh, well, defected. So
Oh no, okay, it is Volskaya.
don't believe his lies.
The producer out here confusing everyone.
So yeah,
Yeah,
what do you think on Volskaya? We'll see. More of the same, probably.
Most likely, I mean, Volskaya, you could actually get away with some really strong dive on Volskaya, but most teams tend to favor like a Hanzo, Farah, Torbjorn
Mm,
type of vibe, which I think is more likely. We might even see potentially the sneaky Symmetra strat teleporting around the side
true.
to get onto point as quickly as possible. But I think it's more likely to be a little more of the same. That kind of double shield with either the Mei and the Hanzo or like Farah Hanzo, something to that
Mm-hmm.
effect. Um,
Yeah.
I think this might favor, not favor, but I think that Evo will have a better chance on this map of making something happen because
Mm-hmm.
it does, it better reflects the conditions of control than hybrid does in terms of, you know, attacking a point and trying to wrestle control of that point. And I think given how they performed on Busan,
Mm-hmm.
that possibly they'll be able to turn this around. And I'm kind of hoping that they take like a divey comp to see how well it works out for them, because dive really seemed to be their niche area, and I think if they can use that and exploit it the same way that they did earlier on Busan, it might work out well for them.
I agree. I wasn't listening to what you just said, but I agree.
Oh my gosh.
Defensive dive here. It looks like out of Evo Esports. They will be leaning on the pharmacy here once again. OG more of the same. That Hanzo May, like you suggested, we might see. Whose composition is he favoring here? Given what we saw in Gardens, Evo looked pretty strong, at least when running that dive. So, you think they're looking good here, or do you think this map favors that shield play more?
I think that they have a good opportunity here because there's so many high grounds that you can abuse. And as you said, we saw it on Busan. They were able to completely shut down the brawl style of OG. I think if OG swap it up, they might be able to turn it back into their own favor. But just kind of initial thoughts on these compositions, I'm gonna put it in Evo's favor for now.
Okay, so you think the momentum's going to swing back a little bit here? I think OG looked so strong on Kings. I mean, they pushed in with like 4 minutes left, so I'm feeling pretty good about how they play their dive, but just going to have to sit for a little bit here and reset and move through at a moment. So any second now, they're just chilling, letting the damage come in from Cheetah Boy, and as I say that, Slumpy gonna be the first casualty here, but Authorize immediately once again gonna bring them back up. Both teams have been running quite a lot of Mercy here today, rather unexpectedly, and making quite a difference here, at least on that team fight. Is OG gonna go all the way around the world, get set up here on the high ground, but still Cheetah Boy on this fire putting in so much damage and so much work. Is now finally the committal comes in, both tanks in, and immediately the kills start to come through. Big Tuna does lose his mech here, but with the way they're clumped up, he might actually be able to build up another ulti, build his mech back up in a second's notice. Here is OG gonna have to run their little asses away here, jump off the map in all likelihood. Is unfortunately, they're not jumping off the map, so yeah, they're going to wait for Maestro to leech some ult charge off them and then jump off the map. As Evo firmly in control on the first team fight there.
This dive from Evo is really powerful. You kind of mentioned the Mercy, and I must say, like, it's very rare to see a sniper comp without a Mercy. So I think that's why we're seeing a lot of it. And obviously a Pharah without a Mercy. So just given the kind of compositions that they've been running, it definitely favors that Mercy. I think if they swapped it up a little bit, we wouldn't see it as much. Now OG, speaking of swapping things up, they will not be swapping things up. and gonna make it a little bit more difficult trying to get onto this point, Jazz. Evo not even waiting for that high ground, just diving straight in.
Yeah, they want to get some damage in there while they're in the transition between the two houses. And Cheetah Boy is up there, Rocket Barrage, and Maestro does have his ulti, so this might be a bad position here as Maestro commits now. The Barrage comes in, doesn't find much, but the damage is enough to secure 2 kills for Evo Esports in good position to prevent Authorized from getting any resurrections. And yeah, that was pretty much a perfect execution from Evo, only committing 1 ulti and killing everyone on the team.
And that's the thing, because they had the barrage from above, so you have Elven Slayer trying to eat the barrage, and because the Matrix is aimed at the Pharah, all the damage coming in from everywhere else is not being negated. So while you're negating one source of damage, you're just eating damage from the other side. And now we're going to be seeing OG swapping up onto a dive. This worked a lot better for them on Busan. In fact, I think this is the composition they ran when they eventually did turn it around. So this could be exactly what OG needs to bring home the win.
Could be, but Evo did end up taking that one, and the dive does look crisper today, so we'll have to see if OG have what it takes. For Terran Lord opening the bank here with a kill onto Space Panda. Maestro follows up quickly though with a kill onto the Ninja. Wallace with an aggressive resurrection doesn't find it and might end up going down here as he's got Phoenix Cheers all up in his business, and he does get taken down. And the dive, like you said, seems to have been enough, although there's still a couple of heroes here alive for Wallace, and that ultimate from the main tank player might be enough to secure them time for the respawns to come in. The 1000 HP gonna keep Maestro healthy here on the point, but with Big Tuna's mech going down, they do find Authorized. But yeah, with Maestro going down, I think it's pretty good for OG. The res coming through. I think this is just pretty much stall for OG. For Evo, sorry. I don't think they're gonna able to get anything. Slumpy finds one. He finds another one now, and it's just Jelly Doodle left. Slumpy picks up his 3rd, and OG will secure first point capture.
But it looks like, will it be in overtime or will they? Yes, it is in overtime. That was fantastic stall from Evo, getting it all the way up to overtime. So now OG 3 minutes to try and capture, and as I thought, swapping over onto this composition, it really does work quite well for OG. And now I think Evo are going to really start to struggle. They have 4 ultimates available to them, and they can really get a ton of value out of that. OG, because of those swap ups, they're only starting to get some ultimates online now.
That sleep on Tracer, almost enough to get the kill, but meanwhile it's Terran Lord who gets the first kill. The ulti coming the other way. Cheetah Boy finds one. Terran Lord ulti's right on top of his head. It gets rid of him and Big Tuna in one foul swoop. And OG, they started off slow, but they come back with a bang here to secure pretty much an instant, immediate take on second point of Volskaya. 2 minutes left on the clock.
I just wonder what their time bank would have looked like if they had swapped onto this composition a little bit earlier. Because they really did leave it to the last second to swap over. And as soon as they swapped, they won that team fight and managed to take control of the point. So I think if they'd swapped a little bit earlier, we might have actually seen a far worse time bank from Evo's perspective.
I think you're right. And I think that might change the complexion of the series. Actually, we might see both teams lean on the dive a lot more than they might have if they'd been having more success with the double shield.
Yeah, and I mean, it has been working out exceptionally well for both teams, in fact. But I think Evo, now as we get into kind of a dive matchup, you'll see Evo tends to favor the Diva dive, whereas OG are running that Wrecking Ball dive. And Wrecking Ball is so potent for getting into the backline, slamming some people up into the sky. Because when you're up in the air, you're a little bit helpless for those couple of seconds. You can't move, and so you're just kind of free damage for the enemy team. They can just shoot at you while you're stuck there suspended in air for a second or two, and you really can't underestimate the damage, or rather the kind of the leg up that does give you. Whereas Diva, really good at eating some of that damage negation, really good for peeling for the supports, which is very important, but not so great on the offense. And I think OG's strat here is to just kind of get in, get as offensive as possible, get those pick-offs as quickly as possible. Because you know what? You don't need to peel for your supports if the enemy team is dead.
Oh, speaking of which, Space Tanda, as she leaves her spawn, she's immediately sent right back. Wallace gonna commit a raise there nice and early. They decide they're not gonna wait the 6 or so seconds it would have taken for her to respawn, and they're just gonna go straight away. But not able to find any targets just yet as they move on through. Soldier here for Jelly taking a ton of damage. They need to be careful, Evo, as they move through. But the tanks now have found what they're looking for. They found the ninja on the backline and they're committing a lot to them. They need to be careful. The Maestro dropping low. Big Tuna gets Terran Lord somehow in the sky, finds what he's looking for and gets that kill. But Terran Lord's body dropped right on top of Authorize, who brings him back to life in a moment's notice. And Maestro now settled on the point, but they're committing. Slumpy off the map. Don't worry about that. We didn't see it happen. As the ninja, under a ton of pressure, gets taken down by Big Tuna as Jelly Doodle counters his counter, taking down Terran Lord in the sky. And Evo, they're doing a much better job of taking this first point than OG did. But the second point is where they're going to make up a lot of time.
Well, that was a really fantastic play from Evo. I loved it. The assassination, getting up into the sky, taking the Pharah out as quickly as possible. I mean, even though it got raised back up, it gave a lot of time for the rest of the team to really pop off. And I think OG gave way too much space to Maestro, who dived onto the high ground to get to the ninja. The ninja drops down. Maestro just kind of chases him along and doesn't get punished as he's chasing the ninja across the map. And that was really a bit of a misstep there from OG. They gave up a ton of space and indeed a ton of time. We've got 5.5 minutes here for Evo to try and take this next point, and OG not looking great in ult economy.
Well, that's a good start, but a really bad follow-up as Terran Lord gives his life away to trade for Space Panda, who's just going to be brought up to health. And where he died, it's pretty much impossible for Orth to get on top of him. But now Jelly Doodle commits his tack visor, and assisted by the Nano Boost is going to help them secure a lot of kills here. Orth did commit Valkyrie, and he is flying around, that annoying little moth. But I don't think he's going to be able to get much done, although they come in now with the Doomfist. Terran Lord going to try and give his team a little bit of extra time. Cheetah Boy commits his barrage, though, to get rid of Phoenix Cheers in short order, and now he finds to kill Orth as well. The ball comes in, and we could be seeing a difficult stall to deal with here as far as Evo are concerned, as OG coming back on a lot of difficult to kill heroes. And we look at this ball swing around on point. Alvin Slayer gets his ulti in, but that's going to be... Oh no, it was perfectly blocked by the shield from Phoenix Cheers. That means the mines are protected. That means it's so hard for Evo to come back in here as the respawns coming back through for OG. That short respawn time working in their favor, but still Evo getting the kills all blue in the kill feed. As Terran Lord, though, he's the one actually making the difference here. He's the one getting the kills, but finally Big Tuna gets rid of him. But you'd have to think, with how the spawns work on this map type, Evo are going to have to be happy here with one tick. Space Panda's decided she's not happy with one tick, with a big anti, a big nano, but is it going to be enough to help Evo secure this? Or is the respawn advantage for OG going to be too much? And it looks like Big Tuna going to beat a hasty retreat here, and OG are finally going to stabilize on second point.
Well, Evo managed to get one tick, which is not bad for that first fight. But now, as the clock continues to run down, they have 30 seconds to try and match OG's time bank. OG did a fantastic job of stalling that out as long as possible. Coming into this next fight, though, we've seen some swap-ups, and now Slumpy onto that Reaper as well. All they really have to their name is a Coalescence, whereas OG, or rather Evo, are coming into this with 4 ultimates, yet another barrage. Yeah,
they commit many ultimates. Coalescence, bomb going in as Cheetah Boy gets the kill, but not before Big Tuna dies and is resurrected. And now Orth going into the backline there. What's he doing? Somebody kill him. He isn't taken down. Cheetah Boy looking for him, and now commits the rocket barrage on top of Maestro's Primal Rage, and they find kills all over the place here for Evo Esports. They commit the tactical visor just for fun, I guess, and try and prevent the respawns from coming in. And Alvin Slayer getting in here, doing a lot of damage. He drops the bombs. Maestro stuck in the corner. Somebody save him. He's okay for now as he manages to Tesla cannon his way out of there. Phoenix Cheers comes back in for Evo Esports and is getting low, but he has the Primal Rage. Alvin Slayer brought back to life. OG might be turning this one here, no worry, as Phoenix Cheers getting all the kills his team needs to bring them back into the team fight. Second tick, so close to the third, but Evo are going to have to do this one more time at least.
Not looking great for Evo. Their follow-up has just not been where it needs to be, and OG doing an exceptional job of stalling this out as much as possible. You know, I've really commented on OG's ability to focus down targets, and I think that's where Evo is lacking, because they're able to come in and get a couple of quick picks, but once it turns into, okay, now we need to clutch out these last few picks because they have spawn advantage, their time to kill is just way too long, and they're not getting the value that they need.
Yeah, aggressive TP there from Slumpy, not able to find anything. In fact, almost going down, but staying alive. They're putting so much pressure on Space Panda here. They do take down Maestro in the front line, but Big Tuna get the trade. Main tank for main tank, but Authorized in a much better position to get the res, and it's kills all going every direction. Cheetah Boy gets 3 with his ulti, following the 2 from Slumpy, but with the respawns, OG are sitting pretty here, and Evo are gonna have to try again.
And Evo committing that barrage definitely not worth, because of course there was just no progress made. Half the team was dead at that point.
Yeah.
Yes, you got 3 and you were kind of hoping to clutch it out, but your supports were dead. There was just no way that Cheetah Boy was going to get the value that he wanted. Now OG with a couple more swap ups. Terran Lord going over onto that Genji. And Evo going to be coming through here with 3 ultimates. They're going to have that visor as well very soon. And this is kind of their last opportunity to really get some value.
Yeah, getting value straight away. Those Cheetah Boy finds that kill. Nice work from Phoenix. Just going to put the bubble on top of the bomb. Keep his team healthy, as Jelly Doodle, though, does take him down. And now commits the nano visor, or rather just the visor. No, there's a nano on top of that. And that means kills coming out for OG. Evo here. Nice stall for the Genji here. Terran Lord thinking that might be his best bet, but Alvin Slayer, or Phoenix Cheers rather, now it's his turn on the ball, but no, not enough. A minute left on the clock for Evo to match the 2.5 minutes of OG.
And they finally make that progress onto the point. Coming into that last fight with a ton of ultimates really helped them out to kind of leverage their way onto the point. You know what? Some teams can win a fight and get all 3 ticks in one go. Some teams need to take a little bit longer, do it tick by tick. But at the end, the result is the same. The only difference, of course, being the time bank. Whereas Evo only have 1 minute, and they started on second point with over 5 minutes to push. OG down to 4 minutes. It's quite ridiculous how well they managed to stall that out. So Evo gonna have 1 minute to push here to try and get some value, and we're gonna be seeing them with that same dive composition. But of course, OG are gonna be expecting it. So, oh, it's happening. It's the Torb Farah, the most insane crossfire that you can have on this point, because you'll have a turret on one point, you'll have the Torb himself somewhere else, and of course you'll have the Farah up in the sky somewhere, and it really does make it difficult to deal with, particularly for a dive composition. They're going to need to be quick, clean, and effective, and take down that turret as quickly as possible, because it's going to be somewhere in the back line, somewhere where you can't get to it easily. So that's going to make it really difficult. I don't know. Maybe,
I think Farah's a pretty good answer to that, right? To just deleting the Torb and the turret in 2 shots and then moving on to the rest of your day.
It could do, yeah. I mean, assuming you manage to get the turret down, because the turret, of course, is going to be firing at you, and it is an auto aim. And you also got to remember that Farah is going to be contested by an enemy Farah. So there's a lot going on here. Again, it kind of comes down to that crossfire that makes it really difficult for this dive composition to pick and decide where they're going to aim first. But it looks like Torbjorn is going to be the first.
Yeah, we spoke about killing the turret, but it seems like the turret man himself is going to drop way earlier. He does get brought back to life, but Jelly Doodle going to take down Terran Lord in the meanwhile. Phoenix just taking a brief nap on point before he's woken up to his own death. The Slumpy, though, gets the return kill onto Wallace, so that Farah now unprotected as she's dueling Slumpy on the left-hand side here, hiding behind the barrels. Cheetah Boy dropping low. Oh my god, Slumpy actually wins that, and now he's got Orth on his back, and she's gonna help him get some more kills. He finds 1, he finds 2, he finds 3. Slumpy putting in the work here to help OG Esports secure themselves a full hold. They do get a few ticks on the side of Evo, and now the respawn's coming in, so maybe they've got something left in the tank, but no. Phoenix just back on the ball, gonna secure himself a double kill, gonna secure OG a semi-full hold here.
That res onto Slumpy was pretty clutch. If Slumpy hadn't been back in the fight, I think Evo would have turned that one around. Because as soon as the Torbjorn went down, they kind of, I think they got a little cocky. They were like, oh, the Torb's out of the way, and then the res came through, turned their back on the Torb, and Slumpy just absolutely popped off. Of course, he had that turret available to him to just drop on the middle of the point, and anybody that so much as stepped foot on the point got absolutely deleted.
Yeah.
I mean, super clutch from Authorized. So now, 1.5 ticks. What's that? 55%. I mean, that's not even 1.5. 55% that OG need to take. They got 2.5 minutes to do it. They're coming in with the composition that we know can highly contest Evo's composition. Running the Tracer this time, which I think can still get a ton of value. I think they might also be expecting the Torbjorn, but Evo just gonna run it the same kind of standard that they've been running all along. It has been working out quite well for them, but OG not risking that double shield that we saw earlier. This time they're going to roll out immediately on that dive response composition.
Yeah.
And if they can get the same value that we saw earlier, then this could be OG taking the map.
Yeah, I mean, makes perfect sense from OG's point of view. We do see the legs here from Jelly Doodle. I'm interested to pick your brain about that after the match to counter, or not to counter perhaps, but opposite to Slumpy's Tracer. And we've seen the Tracer struggle to get value here. We saw on Oasis, on Diablo, struggling to get anything done on that Tracer. So interested to see how Slumpy does comparatively as OG. Just going to set up here, think about how they want to approach this Maestro. Going to cop a few shots there from the Phoenix just still low HP. Okay, finally brought up to full health here. So now OG can finally start moving forward. Tuna immediately on the Pharaoh, but it's the backline that needs to be careful. The tanks though, Cheetah Boy turns and gets a nice shot onto Phoenix just taking him down. But that's going to mean Jelly Doodle taken down as well. Space Panda all by herself in the high ground. A big anti-nade as Cheetah Boy gets the kill on his opposite number. Terran Lord going down there, but not before taking down Wallace. And now the tanks from Evo, they're both still alive. And that's going to give them the space to get the kills they need to secure this team fight. Although it's not over just yet. Space Panda dropping low, the only healer. And now Phoenix just back in the mix. That's going to make it really hard for her to get any value done. She's under pressure, but no. Phoenix just now going to get out of here. We're going to see Oven Slayer jump off the map probably. And a good hold, dangerous hold from Evo there.
Really good hold, actually. It kind of looked to me like maybe OG were gonna take the upper hand in that fight, but Evo managed to maintain their control. Again, their dive is very, very strong here. And as we come into this next fight, we've got the nano boost available from Space Panda. If you drop that onto Maestro, build up his primal, and just keep juggling people off of the point, that could be exactly what they need to hold on.
Speaking of juggling people, that's a huge anti-nade on both tanks, and one now goes in the other direction, but it's Phoenix just that dropped early off. Pistol out, gets rid of Space Panda. He's identified his job this game, and that's to deal with the enemy support. But that barrage gonna do the damage, I think. Actually, a small celebration as it secured most of the damage with the rockets beforehand. But Evo now secure. 40 seconds on the clock for OG to make something happen. Do we see the draw? No, we can't. Sorry.
Yeah, no, we can't draw. We can't draw. Quite a few ultimates used here from Evo. 3 ults in that last fight. Now they also gonna have the struck with great for zoning purposes to possibly try and keep OG off of the point, and of course attack visor can also do a lot for zoning. All OG have to use now is the pulse bomb. They're going to have primal in just a second. Is it going to be enough?
Oh, that's a bad start though. Cheetah Boy takes down Slumpy straight away. I said other Tracers were having trouble, and it's not getting any better just yet, but now he has a chance to prove himself. Another is multi, actually a double. Yes, it is. As I spoke, Slumpy heard me and countered me immediately with a beautiful double kill. It's still even though. In fact, Evo maybe still favored here. Or pistol out again. He's taking matters into his own hands, and he finds Cheetah Boy. That Pharaoh dealt with quick and easy, but there's still 2 tanks on the point here. Make that one less as Phoenix just goes down, but the Doomfist back in from Terran Lord, trying to get on top of Space Panda, who has respawned, but it's Maestro picking up the kills on the front line here. The tanks from Evo making the difference, countering OG's tanks, and looks like that's going to be enough to secure them the point. Perhaps as a celebratory ulti from Big Tuna here finds nothing, but Evo gonna take this map and bring us up to a 2-1. This series has been so close so far.
Really great performance from Evo there, and I think we saw that pulse Slumpy, and I think this is how the comms went, right? So Slumpy dies, and he goes, raise me out pulse bomb, raise me out pulse bomb, raise me out pulse bomb. And Orth brings him back into the fight, gets the 2k, and it looked like OG were about to clutch it, but Wallace got a fantastic range onto Space Panda. So we had both of the supports alive, keeping the 2 tanks alive. And I mean, it was ridiculous to watch. Maestro is basically 1v3ing OG, but he's not dying because he's got Space Panda healing him from the high ground. He's got Wallace healing him from just above him on that on blue box, and they couldn't kill him. He was just staying alive the whole time. We saw Terran trying to contest Space Panda on the high ground, but didn't actually manage to get onto the high ground, and that he just split himself off from the rest of the team. So Evo played that defense really, really well. And as you say, bringing that back up to the 2-1. I'd like to pat myself on the back for wanting Evo to win that one.
Yeah. Good one, good one. You know, I favored OG a little bit, but I'm just a bandwagon. Whoever wins the previous match has my vote for the next match. You know, I believe
Wow.
in the momentum, so I'm favoring Evo going into the next map. Junkertown
What?
looks like it will be our next map, and hopefully Deffect remembered to update the scores this time. Hint, hint, wink, wink. And
Wait, so you don't believe in the Cinderella story, the epic comeback? You
I
just
mean, I believe in it. I just, if I'm putting money down, I want to win. So I pick the team that wins the most. You know, I'm just saying.
wow.
It's a better story though for a Cinderella story, but I think the Cinderella story here, Naori, actually is Evo winning since they got 3-0'd by OG in the previous
That's
series.
what I
So,
mean. That's what I mean.
oh, okay. Sorry, I thought
Yeah.
you meant. Never mind. I agree then. I'm looking forward to going to map 5 here. She's confusing. She's got Jedi mind trick, dude. I'm so confused. But we
Looking
do have a
forward to
substitute.
COWSA.
We do have a substitute coming in here on Diablo. Gonna be replacing Slumpy once again, who played the previous
No.
maps. Oh
Not
my
again.
god, you're confusing me so much. You're impressed
My
with my brain
confusion
now.
is literally on the
Okay, let's try that again. Slumpy still in. Terranoid substituted out for on Diablo this time. Okay, no changes for Evo because they like to make Sun's job really easy. As we move into Junkertown, no worry, no Widowmaker in the pool. How do you think that affects what we'll see on this map?
Well, double sniper is still definitely a possibility because Hanzo and Ash are still a thing. And you can get a ton of value out of the two heroes with these fantastic sightlines, especially if once again if you add that Mercy in, you get a big damage boost potential there. But barring that, I think the double shield Mei Hanzo also has a ton of potential on this map because you can really contest cart quite well with that. You want to make sure the cart doesn't get too much push. And well, looks like, you know, I'm not going to look at the offense because they always do weird things. But over on the defense, okay, it's that same dive composition. I must be honest.
I mean, if it ain't
expecting-
broke, don't fix it, right?
I agree to an extent. I feel like this composition works very well on certain maps, and it helps that Evo are quite proficient with it. But I wasn't expecting it on Junkertown. Yes, there are a lot of high grounds to abuse, but I don't believe that those high grounds will be contested much, and it's going to make it a little bit more difficult for Evo to get the same value. That being said, they are proficient on the composition, and every time OG have tried to run out with this double shield, they've just been caught on the back foot time and time again. So maybe once again, Evo just leverage their ability to play the composition well into a win.
Yeah, we've seen this time and time again. They hold for most of the map on Diablo. Okay, never mind. That dude's dead. Jelly Doodle. Nothing left. They're going to secure the resurrection here. Wallace doesn't have an angle, and now the shield going down means it's going to be dangerous for him. And yes, Slumpy finds the kill on him. So one kill leads to another as OG start pushing forward here with this double shield composition. Space Panda goes down with no healing left on the side of Evo. They're just going to have to get their asses out of here and try again before the point reaches the ball.
Putting it out of there as quickly as possible, and that's kind of what I meant. It was really difficult for that dive to get any sort of traction because when you're on defense, you're just waiting for the enemy team to push into you, and if they don't contest your high ground, you really makes it difficult. But they're going in here for a recontest, trying to stop that cart in its tracks.
Yeah, speaking of contest, they come in here. Alvin Slayer, they're going to get rid of the mech, or Slumpy perhaps. He finds one, finds two, finds three, so much damage going through. Slumpy not subbed out here as I originally thought, and proving now I need to pay more attention as he pretty much secures a team fight for OG here.
Yeah, Slumpy's like, look at me, I'm the captain now. Absolutely dominating here on Junkertown, really abusing those sightlines. Exactly what you want to see from your snipers. And this payload is rolling on through. They're getting so much value here. Now, I don't know if they're going to stick on these snipers. It seems that they will, but I'm not too sure how I feel about these sightlines in the streets phase. It is, of course, very bendy, very windy. It can prove difficult. But with Evo running the same composition that they've been running since the start, since the spawn doors opened, this might be a good opportunity for OG to turn it around, because I'm still not convinced about this dive composition on Junkertown. I think it can work, but I think the composition that OG are running are going to make it very difficult to get the value with it.
Well, let's see here. Tanks get aggressive. That's a good start, but they do have authorized looking for the resurrection. This is aggressive. Does he find it? He finds it, but he does pay with his life. I don't think that's the kind of trade you want to make, and I think that's going to help Evo finally secure a contest on this point. And you spoke about how you weren't so sure about how this composition looks on this map, but have you changed your mind?
I think that was a very good and clean fight from Evo. I think that the the fact that OG were on that high ground and made it very for Evo to take advantage of that, to abuse it, and to leverage that high ground and their dive composition in their favor. So yeah, I mean, yeah, if you're going to be in a weird position on Junkertown, then the dive comp is going to work out really well, and it's how you play it as a team. And Evo are just playing this comp very, very well, and got quite a few ultimates online here coming to this next fight. Both teams, in fact, looking absolutely stacked, and now it comes down to which team is going to be able to use their ultimates effectively, which one is going to not whip.
Yeah, they threw a bob through an amp matrix. I'm not quite sure that's how that works, but anyways, the bomb now goes the other way, finds nothing, but Cheetah Boy gets that kill onto Diablo. Slumpy though finds the return onto Maestro, and he can't be rezzed. Space Panda in the back line might be able to Wallace though. Not going to look for it just yet, as OG commit many ultis, but get many kills and secure many meters of payload push here. Cheetah Boy still in the mix though, throwing some rockets on top of OG, but he's going to go down. Alt's going to undo all his good work, and OG are going to cap second point. Although Maestro in the mix here with his ultimate, that primal rage, going to try and secure even some space to get back in, but he's taken down so quickly. Can they touch the point? No, they can't. Big Tuna not able to come around the corner after killing Slumpy, and OG do manage to take that second point.
OG did it well that round, playing payload, playing cart, not moving into weird positions and weird angles, staying together as a team, and they were able to deny that dive, deny any value from that dive. Now, you were right, they did use a ton of ultimates in that last fight, but very close to getting them back up. I mean, Ninja already so close to yet another damage amplification matrix, doing a ton of work here for his team. But Evo sitting on almost all of their ultimates still. It's looking very good for them in this next contest.
Oh, a big anti-heal. Maestro goes down early, but I think that anti might have been enough to secure them. That shield not quite finding the angle in the 2 milliseconds he had to respond, as Cheetah Boy finds a triple with his ulti. Wallace gonna bring Maestro back into the mix here, and OG gonna have to go back to spawn and think about how they approach the next team fight.
Actually really well played from Evo as well, only using one ultimate to win out that team fight. And as we move into the next one, they're still going to have the Visor and the Nano, and those are some really powerful ultimates to try and help the rest of your team to build up their ultimates, particularly that Nano boost. So I think they're going to be using that to possibly help get an ultimate back up into being able to be used. I did not word that very well.
I get what you're saying though. Secure some space, allow them to charge some ultimates, and here it comes out. You call the Nano boost, and they immediately find the kill on the Ninja before he drops the lamp down. And speaking of dropping down, OG gonna be dropping down here, heading there back to spawn in quick fashion. And Evo gonna secure that. Didn't manage to build any ultimates up there, but Cheetah Boy close to his ultimate still on. OG though looking stellar in response.
Oh yeah, I mean, Cheetah Boy very close to another barrage. He's been getting so much value because it's such a closed off area. And yes, the Pharah has been recently nerfed with that splash damage, but it is so closed off that direct rockets are a little bit easier to hit. And so he's getting tons and tons and tons of value here. And I think that that's really working out. Big Tuna also very close to that self-destruct, and I think that's going to be great for creating some space. But OG, every ultimate in the world.
Oh, speaking of space creation, Maestro jumping in there immediately with the headshot. They committed a defensive gravitic flux. You don't see that very often, but it makes sense against dive. And OG now in control, pushing forward. Space Panda, I suspect, gonna go down. Yes, she does. It's Evo. Try and back up and steady themselves for the respawns and look to recontest here.
Well, they're going to be recontesting with 3 ultimates, and one of them is going to be that rocket barrage, and we've seen that Cheetah Boy gets a lot of value out of that. If they're not able to shield that off and try and deny some of that damage, then it could be very dangerous.
Oh, aggressive dive. Oh my god, that's it. Body and some buildings to boot. A triple kill for Big Tuna, a demolitions expert, as he takes down the immortality field and the bongo. And I mean, you couldn't ask for more. Well, I guess you could ask Maestro not to commit his ulti at that point, but yeah, it's okay. Evo gonna hold here.
They probably didn't really expect that ult to get a ton of value. They were probably using it as some kind of zoning equal to force people into weird situations, and the next thing they knew, it got a 3k. And it was like, okay,
there's 2 shields.
That works too.
There's 2 shields, but they managed to thread the needle there. Big Tuna finding a lot there. Now come the Justice in from the sky. Cheetah Boy finds one. Alvin taken down. Kills all in the kill feed. Yeah, that's where they go. And this time, they're all blue. There's even a Bob for good mix, and he's going to fly on out of there without accomplishing anything. Jelly Doodle close to his ulti, and Evo looking super strong third point of Junkertown.
they're really abusing their maneuverability and their mobility on this last point here, and it's really working out exceptionally well for them. And as we move into this next fight, OG made a couple of swap ups here. I think it was just Slumpy, in fact, swapping over onto that Reaper to try to deal with Maestro, because again, these tanks are giving them so much pressure and not allowing them to take the space that they need to push that cart through. But they do give up some ult charge in the process, only really have the Valk available. Soon attack Visor, and hopefully it'll be enough to get that Pharah out of the sky and complete the match.
Yeah, legs versus legs here, but one legs has a nano boost and an aimbot, and he's getting the damage in here. Takes down Alvin Slayer on the front line. It's not looking good for OG here. They've lost so many, and Wallace bringing Maestro back to life makes it even harder. It's just Phoenix Tears left on the point, and that horse robot is not long for this world. Jelly Doodle secures that, and also secures Evo a 3rd-point hold here, but not a bad push from OG, it has to be said.
Horse robot. What is it Mish says? Battle cattle.
Battle cattle.
Battle cattle. Yeah, boy. Really great hold from Evo on that last point there. I was actually quite impressed with how they managed to maneuver that high ground and use it to their advantage, just to make sure that they maintain control at all times. And of course, Cheetah Boy getting tons and tons of value on that Pharah. The Soldier as well getting ridiculous, almost unprecedented amounts of value. But I think given the static composition that OG were running, it was kind of fish in a barrel. And they kind of enabled Evo to get ult charge off of them. And I think that they might want to look at swapping that up, because chances are Evo are going to roll out
It's dive with a Bastion? You never seen that before?
No, and I'm not going to look at that for now.
Yeah,
what
fair
I'm also
enough.
kind of interested in is this Reaper Torb comp on defense. These teams are really pulling out all the stops to kind of make me speechless.
It's Reaper and shorter Reaper.
Reaper and Little Reaper.
Exactly, Reaper and his little brother. And it's funny because, I mean, Terranol's not in, but Phoenix and his little brother, I don't know which one's older actually, but brothers in the game, in the match, everywhere, and I think you got to feel pretty good if you're Evo moving into this though.
This is an interesting hold from OG though, very strong, aggressive hold, and it will allow them a second hold if they do get wiped out here. Evo playing this very split though, and I think that might make it a bit more difficult for them to get the value they want.
Oh, and you called it. Maestro going down, jumped in a bit aggressively, and Diablo punished him straight away with the big Reaper and the big Hellfire shotguns. There's a pharmacy chilling on the roof. I don't know what's going on here. Ran back into spawn, wait for your tanks to come back and move out again.
Oh, that's it. They had to get back into spawn, and now they're going to be trying to go for like a high ground approach here and see maybe they dive can get a little bit more value. Now they do need to be careful because they're still diving into a Reaper.
Yeah, they are, and a Torbjorn as well. That right click, nothing to mess with Overload, and in fact it's the turret, his only other ability that gets the kill onto Maestro. The Halt gonna make sure they get that kill onto Big Tuner as well. And this Pharmacy not able to get any damage down, not counted in any obvious way, but struggling to put the damage down. I think good shields from Alvin Slayer making it difficult.
Now what really complicates matters is that Reinhardt would be such a good hero to have against this comp, but of course he's just not in the mix. And I would like to see a shield, a more static shield coming through here from Evo, but I mean, I don't think this back cap is gonna work.
What do you mean? Cheetah Boy finds the double. They get a return double. No reses, I think, coming out. Yeah, no res on the side of OG, and that's gonna be the difference maker as they secure all the rest of the kills, and finally, after a minute and a half, able to get some movement on the card.
That was actually a really like 200 IQ play from Maestro to draw all the attention away. It's like, oh, there's a monkey on the payload. We need. Oh, okay, that's for Mech. That's for Mech. So it's like, there's a monkey on the payload. We need to deal with that. So they all turn around, and as they turn, boys like supplies. And gets the 2-3k there, managing to open up everything for his team. But here's that recontest that I was talking about a little bit earlier. OG with 3 ultimates online here and a nice early pickle.
Yeah.
The payload again.
Bad start there. That Death Blossom going through, not finding anything. Rather surprisingly, Big Tuna gonna lose his mech, so there's a real lack of tanks here on the side of Evo. But who needs tanks? Jelly Doodle needs tanks as he goes down. Attack Visor committed and finds nothing. This Alvin Slayer very low, needs to be careful. Is anti-healed as well. This Pharmacy still milling about here in the sky, but on Diablo with the Hellfire shotgun, gonna get rid of the Pharah and gonna get rid of the Mercy. and OG gonna hold firm here in the kind of middle of first point.
She's watching Elven Slayer. Just had my anxiety. All he had was his shield. The Anna was still firing at him, and he's like hugging payload healing. Oh, okay, that's nice.
Yeah, very aggressive dive here. The Molten Core comes out as well. That lamp making such a big difference, but Nano Boost commits the Primal Rage here on Maestro. He finds Slumpy. They got quite a few kills here, but Gravitic Flux going the other way. I think that's going to spell the end of Space and Jelly, and it looks like OG going to have what it takes to hold firm here on first point. 45 seconds left on the clock. I'd like to see them back out. Evo, yes, Big Tuna does get out of there with his mech still pretty healthy, and Evo going to have one more opportunity to make something happen on Junket Town.
Nano Primal is definitely questionable. I don't think that was really planned out properly or communicated properly. Either that or like Maestro got the Nano and then he was about to die and he was like, well, I guess I'm gonna need to.
Yeah, I think that's what happened.
That's most likely what happened there. Now they need to try and recontest this. All they have available to them is that Rocket Barrage, and OG starting it out with that Coalescence and the kill onto Jelly Doodle.
Yeah, on Diablo putting in work here on that Reaper. He finds 2 kills, make it 3 as he gets rid of Wallace. It's Big Tuna left, Space Panda as well. But those are not 2 heroes you expect to 2v6 a team fight, as OG looking so strong on Junket Town. Gonna even things up, Naori, perhaps, although this hero's coming in, but they don't touch. OG gonna bring us up to a 2-2 here as we head into our last control map for what has been a banger of a series. This is what I was hoping for last time we saw these 2 teams play.
Yeah, well, I must say a little bit more disappointment from my side, just on Evo not swapping up their composition. I think that kind of when they came out the doors after like maybe the 2nd or 3rd time, and it was just like, maybe we should try something else. They're leaning a little bit too heavily on this dive. Yes, you do execute the dive well, but first point Junket Town, not the best place to be trying to use it. It's just way too open, and you can't really leverage much with it. I mean, they can see you coming from a mile away.
Yeah.
By the time you're halfway to them in your dive, they've like chunked down half of your HP. So it doesn't work out, and I really wish they would have swapped off at any point. I mean, I was gonna end that with swapped off earlier, but they just didn't.
You can kind of see where they're coming, right? It worked so well for them. In fact, they don't win unless they're running it. So you kind of feel like, at least in the series, you kind of feel like if we lose while running it, we probably weren't going to win while not running it, you know?
Fair enough. But as we move on to control point, and this is kind of what I was alluding to on Volskaya, we saw Evo take that first control point. Then they lost the hybrid, which is, payloady. And then they won the assault, which is kind of controlly. Then they lost the actual escort map. And now we're back onto a control map. And I think depending on which map... Okay, so they're going to Lijiang. And...
is that in the pool?
I don't know. You tell me. You are the smart one.
Not according to my list, though.
No, it's not. It's... Oasis.
Well, I'm hoping, you know what, I think that's the 80k list because I'm dumb. So don't worry about that. So I think Lijiang is in RMG, so yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. So what's going to be interesting about this one is that I don't like dive on most of these maps. I think the Wrecking Ball can work on some of them, but for the most part, it's more of a brawl heavy map, particularly Control Center. If we see Control Center, I mean that's May heaven. Right?
I haven't seen dive on that map basically ever.
Like ever.
Not since 2017 or something.
Like when dive was meta.
Exactly.
But now we're in like this really cool place in Overwatch where like you don't run the same comp everywhere. It's magical.
Yeah. It's shocking. It's so confusing.
Wow. You know how much I have to study now? Like, I have to know things. It makes my job so much harder.
I didn't even know the names of half of these heroes until 2019.
Well, despite my aversion to dive on Lijiang, it looks like we are still going to be seeing that from Evo. They are adamant to make this composition work.
You don't like it on this point?
It's not that I don't like it, but again, I feel like you get more value out of Brawl because once you get onto that point, it's so confined, and again, there aren't really high grounds to abuse. it's good to have mobility, but I don't think that you can leverage the dive too well unless you really have the support from the rest of your team. And given that they're diving once again onto a Torbjorn and a Reaper, who are really good in these confined spaces, I think that's going to make it really difficult for Evo to get the value that they want.
Yeah, little brother strats here again from OG, gonna make it tough for this dive to get any value, but they're set up on point here. This is a good position for OG with that composition. Cheetah Boy gets rid of that turret, so not gonna have to worry about that crossfire just yet. They forced the lamp out, but Maestro getting so low has to jump back. That's not really something you want to do, but this angle from Cheetah Boy could be huge. He's firing through the backline, and now Maestro jumps in. They're so aggressive, but Big Tuna's mech will be the first casualty of this team fight as OG sitting pretty. Yeah, they find Maestro as well. Cheetah Boy only able to find turret kills, and that's just not how you win a team fight in Overwatch, as Evo gonna have to back out here. OG get the first cap on Lijiang Tower.
And there it is. They forced that dive, forcing Evo to dive onto them with a very, very potent close quarters composition. Slumpy and On Diablo really getting so much value there. And of course, the movable shield from Elven Slayer and even Phoenix Tears, as much as it's got kind of longish cooldown, you can still move it around quite effectively. So they're really leveraging that well to maintain control. But Cheetah Boy has that barrage available to do exactly what they need.
Maestro dropping low. He does have his primal rage, and now Cheetah Boy with the barrage, like you said, but he doesn't find anything other than a couple of buildings, and I don't think that's going to be enough. Again, we see the nano boosted primal rage. It's not generally how you want to use those two ultimates, but unfortunately, I think Maestro just taking too much damage from too many different ear angles. Not even the nano boost enough to keep him alive, and OG once again gonna hold firm on Lijiang Tower.
OG really abusing the space denial that their composition affords them. I mean, they won that last fight with, I think it was just the Coalescence and the Molten Core. I mean, they managed to absolutely decimate Evo's attempts to get onto the point. Now Evo coming into this next fight only really have the Visor and the Valk available. The self-destruct might be enough to give them a little bit of space to leverage, but the composition from OG is just way too strong right now.
Yeah, Elven Slayer, many ultimates in close proximity here. Oh, the Ninja, a little bit out of position there, but he does manage to get round, and onto Diablo's ulti, gonna take down Big Tuna's mech, and unfortunately Evo gonna have maybe one more opportunity to get back in here and take another fight, but it's gonna be close.
Evo need to make a swap up. Okay, they can't now. There's no time. But like when we move into the next fight, if they don't manage to win this fight, they need to swap something up.
Are they gonna?
Now there's just so much more space denial for OG.
Maestro barely making his way in here. Big Tuna finds the opening pick, but it gets taken down before he can remac. That lamp making the difference, I think. They're keeping OG in this one as Cheetah Boy sprayed them with rockets raining from above. Authorized finds a pick on Jelly Doodle, and I think that's going to be enough to help OG secure a 99-0, 100-0 actually. Let's make it point on the Gardens of Lijiang Tower.
That really felt like Revenge of the Turret, because self-destruct came through and killed Slumpy.
That's so true, yeah.
Turret killed the baby Diva.
That's so true.
Oh, that's funny. So this is what happens when you piss off AI. They turn around and they fight back. Really, really great plays there from OG. I think they're really finding a bit of a niche here with the space denial composition. It's actually a little reminiscent of a composition that we're seeing in tier 3 at the moment from Avoided. The only differences being they run the Wrecking Ball instead of the Sigma, and they run the Junkrat instead of, well, the Reaper. But the space denial that this kind of a composition affords you is particularly on these really closed off points where you don't have a ton of space to move about. Space is limited. Space is a very rare commodity, and you need to be taking control of that. But that early pick-off could be perfect for you.
I think that might be the difference maker. The Stau lacking healing, but they are running off on that Moira, so maybe they've got enough here to fight their way through. And the way their composition is set up, it's still hard to push in no matter who's missing, but they do go on the back line there. They find the kill on Slumpy, and that's probably going to secure them a first point capture here. Evo moving their way through, but with Maestro going down, maybe spoke a little bit too soon there. There's still a couple of kills they need to get here on point. Big Tuna firing away. He did get demicked, and the Ninja's back in the mix and follows up with an immediate kill on Big Tuna, and slow, steady play from OG is going to help them secure a first fight take here on this map, whose name I've forgotten.
This is Night Marker.
Yes, Night Marker.
So now there's space denial, but in a different sense. So previously we had the Torbjorn with the turrets, and now we have Symmetra with her turrets, and oh man, Symmetra is so good on this point. If you can get those turrets in just the right place, people really struggle to deal with that, and so they're leveraging that really well in their favor. Even Cheetah Boy, with so many angles to use on this Pharah, is not getting the value that he would want to. Very close to a barrage though, which could be the opener that they need.
Yeah, speaking of openers, Maestro trying to open them like a can of tuna, but the only thing that goes down is Big Tuna's mech. The hero following soon afterwards. Maestro feeling pretty mad, but he gets taken down so quickly. He does manage to get rid of Slumpy, batting him off the side of the map, but Alvin Slayer returns in kind on Cheetah Boy, and it looks like Evo gonna have to rethink how they approach this one, and perhaps rethink their composition entirely.
Been saying that for 3 maps. Evo, please. Make change.
Well, they're ignoring you for now.
Oh. Yeah, they always do. They always do. They got the Dragon and the Barrage though, which are really great compositions for splitting, for creating space, and hopefully getting a pick or two. Gonna start things off with the Valkyrie though, bit of an early Valk. Nice pick off there.
Yeah, I do find the pick there onto Slumpy. That's quite a lot of damage taken away, and with the immediate follow-up onto that. But the ulti from Diablo, he thinks he has what it takes to get a couple of returns here and secure the team fight for OG, and he might be right about that. Is now struggling for numbers here, but with Phoenix just going down, yeah, I think with Cheetah Boy, that follow-up making something happen for OG here, but they haven't quite got it yet. Slumpy, what are we watching? He picks up a triple, make that a quad. 94% left on the clock, and Slumpy, I think he's just secured enough for OG to take this map and in turn take the whole series to take a 2-0 victory over Evo in all the series we've seen. That was a beautiful match and a fascinating end, but unfortunately Evo just didn't have what it takes to retake their lost map from last week, and OG gonna move on in RMG with another victory under their belt.
What's so surprising to me is that this was Evo's map pick. They had an opportunity to pick something that would super favor their dive, and instead they chose Dijon, the hardest maps to come up against the space denial composition if you're going to be running dive. I mean, they saw that OG had figured out the niche composition they needed to deal with the dive. It was just deny the space, deny the dive. And as soon as they saw that, they should have realized, okay, dive is not going to work. We need to pick either a map that's going to favor our dive, or we need to stop playing dive. None of those decisions were made, and they kind of... for his team to kind of bounce off of and turn fights in their own favor.
Yeah, I agree, and we just thought kind of typified right at the end there on that Symmetra play. Ended up securing the entire series, as it were, for OG, you know. So I agree with that. You know, shout out to Authorize as well. I think he really shone early on the Zenyatta. And even on the Mercy, making big plays with the pistol, which you don't often see, and otherwise always being in a good position to get some critical raises off. But Slumpy, I agree with you. I think he proved himself more than enough here to secure our player of the match. So we will move down now quickly and grab him for an interview. All right, welcome everybody. First off, congrats, Slumpy. Really well played, and congrats on beating quite a steady rival of you guys. How does it feel to take such a stressful match here?
It was definitely stressful, but it feels very great. Really satisfying to just clinch that win right at the end there.
Awesome. So coming into this match after your defeat over Evo previously last week in the 80K calibration tournament,
No,
were you
beat them 3.
Sorry, did I say defeat? Sorry. Oh God, no! Sorry, over your defeating of Evo.
Yeah.
Let's just slightly change the verbiage there. How were you feeling coming into this match? Do you think you were gonna do it again, or do you think it'd be a lot more difficult this time around?
Yeah. Well, obviously we threw at them last time, so coming in here we were quite confident, but still skeptical because they'd seen the comp suit run against them. We thought they might bring something surprising, and they definitely did. They definitely came a lot stronger than last time, and yeah, we were definitely shocked, but we were still like ready and prepared if it was going to be a tough fight.
And definitely showed. Don't worry.
Yeah.
So they came through on that dive, and it definitely seemed to surprise you. And it took you a little while before you kind of figured out what
Yeah.
was the best composition to deal with it. How did you get the click? Was it just like, well, I'm just gonna run Torbjorn and the best, or did you actually have like a thought process behind it?
Yeah, well, the dive was annoying, but the faro with the dive was really getting to us. So we tried to run Ash, we tried to run Soldier just to try and like get the faro out. But then we also needed presence on the dive and on points to help our tanks and subs. So we thought, Torb's best of both worlds. He can put his turret down. He can shred like tanks when they dive in. He's like buff. He can survive. So it did take us a while to get there after experimenting a couple of times, but we got there just in time.
Awesome, and it definitely showed. So coming out of the first map, this is now the first map you've dropped to Evo. Did that shake your guys' confidence a little bit, or will you still sort of feel like, okay, we made a few mistakes, and you just mentioned how you kind of had to come up with a counter to the way they were running the dive.
Yeah.
But how were you feeling after that first match?
Well, we were kind
First
of
map, sorry.
surprised, but I obviously didn't play in the first one, but listening to comms, they were just like, it's okay. We made these mistakes. We're going in next time. We didn't like think about it. We just moved on to the next thing. So yeah, definitely didn't drag us down, but it did kind of surprise us.
Okay. Nori?
Yeah, we kind of barreling through RMG and ATK and all of the tournaments, and it felt like this might have been one of your closer matchups. So I'm just wondering, as you kind of look toward future matches, are there any teams that you're really looking forward to competing against, or any teams that kind of make your knees shake a little bit, or any teams that you have a big old grudge against that you really want to take down?
Well, I would say the one team we're looking forward to play again is probably 2CP.
Okay.
Since we did get a map against them, and we feel like as we're playing, we're getting better as a team, and we really feel like we could definitely compete against them. And yeah, this was the first match like I've played since I'm new to the team that was really tough. So it was definitely interesting.
Awesome. Well, I think we can all say it looked super tough, but it looked like it was a lot of fun, and it always feels great coming out with the W in that kind of match. So, last question from my side, Slumpy. If you're looking at how Evo played this game and you were coaching them, what would you be saying to them? What do you think the difference was between your team and their team today?
Well, I think they came out with a very strong comp that obviously got us a bit confused and it was working. But I think at the end there, when we had found a counter and it was working well, they kind of needed to change up what they were doing, maybe die different targets, maybe switch up the comp a bit, because I feel like it was working, but comps in Overwatch, it's all about adapting, so the comps don't always continue to work. So you need to kind of always be ready to play something else. And I think that they just kind of stick to what was working until it stopped working, and then that's what.
And then they still stuck to it. Yeah.
And then they still stuck to it. Yeah.
Awesome. So, any last messages from you, Noe?
No, I think that's kind of got me covered.
Cool.
I got my standard questions in.
Yeah. So congrats again, Slumpy, for player of the match,
thanks.
and to the rest of OG for taking a hard-fought victory over Evo here for the second time in 2 weeks. Slumpy, before we let you go, so you can go celebrate with your team, where can we find you on the internet? Any social medias?
You can just check me out at SlumpyXD on Twitter.
Okay, and that's Slumpy with a 1 instead of an I.
On Twitter, it's actually an I.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
So at
confusing.
Slumpy on Twitter, follow OG as well at Omnius_gaming, and shout out to our losing team today at Evo Esports. I think there might be an underscore.
It was very close.
Yeah, exactly. So
it was a good game.
Really well played to them. Very good game. But before we say goodbye to all of you, COWSA NaoriMizuki, the second Sanzuki or NaoriMizuki or whatever we've decided to call it. My better half in this context, obviously.
Oh no.
where can we find you on the internet?
Find a social media platform, type in NaoriMizuki. If you find something, it's me. If you don't, I'm not there.
Awesome. Straight to the point. Very simple. I like it. Deffect is our producer for today. Please forgive him for his slight sins around the scoreboard and all of those things. It's his first time, and I think he did a very good job. No major complaints. So well done to Deffect losing his production virginity, and you can find him on @Deffect, I think, on Twitter. He's going to correct me in a second. _ZA, @Deffect_ZA. Find him on Twitch, twitch.tv/ Deffect_W. I'm remembering all of these things. It's incredible. And yeah, follow him there. And then finally, @Raving Mad Gamers are the tournament runners here. Big shout out to them. Summer League's been awesome. We're coming towards the end of it. So that should be a lot of